Hey peeps, what's up? You're listening to the Go-4-2 Sports Minute. I am Casey Gisclair. We are going to be talking about a lot of fun things in the next 10-15 minutes or so. We got a little bit of spare time here. And I just wanted to, first and foremost, before we got rolling, I wanted to thank everybody so very much for following the site and following some of the things that we've been doing here. We got a lot more planned. We're just getting started. This is sort of a trial run that I'm doing here with some of the equipment that we've been able to get locked up and get maintained, but we still got some more equipment on the way. So don't judge us by our audio quality today. It's going to be a little bit scratchy today, but we got some things coming on the way to make everything sound much better. And we're going to be rocking and rolling. The site is going great. Numbers are looking pretty good, and we're building a pretty good team, so everybody's very excited about that. Just wanted to thank everybody for their support, thank everybody for their patience. I know that building something like this doesn't happen overnight. As much as I would like for it to happen overnight, it doesn't happen overnight, but I just wanted to thank everybody for that. But anyway, we talk about the fun stuff now. We're going to talk a little bit about the sports going on in the sporting world, and I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about the NBA Finals. I know that the NBA Finals are still a couple of days away. They're going to get rolling next Thursday in Golden State when the Warriors take on the Cleveland Cavaliers. And it's funny, I almost said a minute ago that Golden State was taking on the Miami Heat. I just got so accustomed to the Heat being in those big games in recent years. But now it's a pretty similar team in the Cleveland Cavaliers who are going to be challenging Golden State. And Cavaliers, of course, really hadn't been challenged much in the Eastern Conference postseason. They rolled through the Boston Celtics, then had a little bit of a tougher time with the Bulls. But at the end of the day, I think everybody sort of understood that Cleveland had control of that series, and then they rolled and swept the Atlanta Hawks in 4 games. LeBron James has been doing his thing. Big man has been dominating the Eastern Conference Finals, getting triple-doubles and doing all that fun stuff for Cleveland. But I gotta tell you, and look, I could hear LeBron hater yelling at me. I could hear the sirens going off in Cleveland. I could hear all the Miami Heat fans who are now Cleveland Cavalier fans, who are now going to be fans of LeBron's next team if he leaves Cleveland again. I could hear all of you hollering at me and calling me a hater and calling me this and calling me that. But LeBron's about to be in a world of hurt in the NBA Finals. I just can't put it any way different than that. LeBron's about to be in a world of hurt in the NBA Finals. And the thing that is so interesting to me is this. LeBron James, everybody's praising him right now. Dude is playing great basketball, triple-doubles for days. His stats are great. He's doing wonderful things. He's playing hurt. He's kneeling on the court. He's got all the momentum. But watch. I'm going to warn you right now. You watch this happen. Thursday night, Golden State Warriors win Game 1. LeBron James maybe doesn't play as well as he's used to playing. We're going to all go back to those old patterns, and we're going to call LeBron James names. We're going to say that he can't win in the big situations. We're going to point to the fact that he's only won 2 NBA championships, but he's lost a couple of times in the NBA Finals. We're going to look back and see that Dallas Mavericks series. We're going to see the San Antonio Spurs series from last year. We're going to see all sorts of things that we probably shouldn't be seeing, but we're going to see them because that's the way the sports world is today. It's not about how great you may be. It's not about the fact that, heck, you may just be losing because your team is inferior to the other team. It's about winning at all costs. And if LeBron James doesn't win this series, he is going to get hammered for it. I'm going to tell it to you right now, straight up, as best as I could tell you. Get ready. LeBron James is going to get creamed if he loses this series. That would be 2 straight years. He goes to the NBA Finals in 2 straight years. He comes up empty. And the biggest reason why I think Golden State's going to win this series, guys, really just has to do with depth, man. Look, everybody that knows me knows I'm a Houston Rockets guy. Everybody that knows me knows that I live and die by the Red Nation. And I watched all 5 games of that last series intently, wishing and trying to root my Rockets on. But I got to tell you, after about the 3rd quarter of Game 1, I already knew this thing was over. And the reason why I knew this thing was over is because whenever I'm watching, whenever I'm studying games, I like to study a couple of things. I like to study what guys want the ball late in the game in crunch time situations. And, with Golden State and Houston, that was about a wash because James Harden wants the ball late, Steph Curry wants the ball late, and there's not much of a give or take there. I know that James Harden had a terrible Game 5, but look, he had a great series. In Games 1 and 2, he was phenomenal. In Games 4, he was unbelievable. Don't pay any mind to that Game 5. The man was cursed. What can you say about that? He just had a terrible game. But the stars in the last series were about equal. Harden and Howard, Curry and Thompson, it was about a wash. And the same's going to be said in the NBA Finals. LeBron and Kyrie, Curry and Thompson, it's going to be about a wash. But where they get you is here. Okay, it's the late second quarter. The benches are playing. Okay, Andre Iguodala is going to start making plays. Then Harrison Barnes is going to start making plays. Then Andrew Bogut's going to dunk one in. Then, Leandro Barbosa is going to dunk one in. Then, oh, look, Sean Livingston's got 20 points. The Warriors are the deepest NBA team that I have maybe ever seen. They go 9-10 deep. They play guys that feel like you haven't even heard of. Last year's Festus Ezeli's in the paint taking it to Dwight Howard. Festus Ezeli would start on a lot of NBA teams. He hardly plays for Golden State. David Lee, high-dollar post player, does not play coach's decision in every single game. I think that the best decision that any coach has ever made is Steve Kerr looking Phil Jackson in the eye and saying, "Boss, I love you to death, but I'm not going Coach Carmelo Anthony. I'm going to Golden State." Because think about that for a minute. Just think about how history could change in one instinct or one, stroke of a pen, signing a name on a contract. If Steve Kerr goes to the New York Knicks, and look, I think Steve Kerr is a really good coach. I think that he's done a phenomenal job with the Warriors. But would he have made the Knicks into a 50-win team this year? There's not a chance in heck. Whereas if any other coach goes to Golden State, look, they may not have won 67 games, but I think they would still be in the NBA Finals right now because Golden State just needed a new voice. They needed anybody besides Mark Jackson in that locker room, and I think Kerr has been a godsend, but it's just so crazy to think how he was almost a New York Knick. Talk about from a nightmare to a pleasure palace. Steve Kerr's living the dream right now, and he's about ready to get himself another NBA championship ring. We're going to shift gears from basketball a little bit. We're going to talk some LSU baseball as the Tigers are about ready to take the diamond, and they're going to take on Lehigh in the Baton Rouge Regional. That game will have a first pitch of 3 p.m. And the nightcap of that game after LSU clobbers Lehigh, more about that later, they're going to be, Tulane's going to take on North Carolina Wilmington. That will be a 7 p.m. first pitch. Of course, weather permitting. We know that the weather here lately has been pretty wild and raucous, so we're going to hope that they get both of those two games in without a hitch. And when I look at the LSU Regional, it's funny. I just don't see much that's going to stand in LSU's way. And I'm the guy that even whenever LSU's beating teams 20-0, I'm out there saying, look, let's hold back for a little bit. I don't see championship greatness in this team, but I just don't see any resistance coming out of that Baton Rouge Regional. Whenever I look at the teams, Lehigh's a joke. Let's throw them out there. LSU's going to clobber Lehigh today. They're not even a 500 club. They're a Patriot League club. If Lehigh played Nichols today, Nichols would clobber them by 4 or 5 runs. That's not going to be an issue. LSU's going to get past Lehigh. They're going to do so no matter who's pitching. They're going to do so no matter what's going on the field. They're going to score 10, 12 runs. It'll be an easy win. So then you look at Tulane and you look at North Carolina and Wilmington. The Green Wave have already beat UNC Wilmington once this season. Of course, that doesn't mean much. It was a midweek game, but I think Tulane's got enough pitching to where they can make that one interesting. And I just don't see enough in those two teams, either one of them, to challenge LSU and beat them twice, which is what you have to do because, look, LSU's already played Tulane twice this year. They've hammered them both times. LSU hasn't played Wilmington, obviously, but I just don't see any team in this region that's akin to Houston last year, where you knew going into the region that Houston was going to be a force to be reckoned with. I just don't see that for standing in LSU's path. I think that the Tigers are going to have a pretty clean weekend, and I think that they're going to win pretty soundly in 3 straight games. And if they do so, they're going to move on and host the Baton Rouge Super Regional next weekend, and that'll be something that everyone in the area will be excited about. Alden Cartwright getting the ball for the Tigers. He's only pitched 19 innings this year, but he's certainly done a very good job. Maneri said he wanted somebody who could throw some strikes. So if Cartwright does that, the Tigers should have a very easy time. Before we let you go, we're going to give you the 3 betting picks for the day. That's something that we're going to like to do here as I'm a betting man. I know that I'm not supposed to talk too much about that, but I mean, every once in a while it's okay to put a potato chip or a donut on a sports game out there. I don't live in Las Vegas, so we do it with recreational purposes in mind. My first pick of the afternoon is going to be Cincinnati Reds to score over 3.5 runs against the Washington Nationals, and I'm going to say that because Steven Strasburg, the Nationals pitcher today, is a mess. Trust me, there's no one on earth that knows that this man's a mess more than me. He is my ace of my fantasy baseball team, but he has been a wreck. And I think at Cincinnati, the Reds are going to score some runs. And then other than that, my last two picks, I got Ole Miss over Maryland. Ole Miss should not be an underdog against Maryland. SEC against Big Ten. I'm going to take SEC all day long. Then I'm going to go over 12 runs between LSU and Lehigh. I look at this game, and LSU may score 12 runs on their own, and I just think that the Tiger pitching isn't good enough to shut anybody out at this stage in the year. So I'm going to go over 12. I think that this one's going to be a shootout. LSU wins, say, 14-3 or so, which, of course, 14 plus 3 is more than 12. So that's going to wrap it up here for the Go for 2 Sports Minute. We're going to be doing this pretty often, and we're going to have some guests on as well. I know Richard Fisher is chomping at the bit to get on the mic. We got a couple of hosts and a couple of guys lined up. We're going to be talking about all sorts of different things. But I just wanted to sign out. Just wanted this more of a test run to make sure the equipment worked. But anyway, this is Casey Gisclair on this Friday afternoon, wishing you all a fantastic afternoon. May God bless. You guys have a wonderful weekend. Thanks for listening. Thanks again for supporting the site. We couldn't do any of this stuff without you guys. Have a wonderful weekend.